Hello and welcome to discussion today on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha. On the show today, we will talk about One Nation, One Election. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has once again advocated the idea of One Nation, One Election and a single voters list as well, saying that elections taking place every few months hinders development. Addressing the concluding session of the 80th All India Presiding Officers Conference via video conference on the 71st Constitution Day, the Prime Minister made a strong pitch for simultaneous elections. He said, One Nation, One Election is not just an issue of deliberation, but also the need of the country. Listen in.
वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन सिर्फ एक चर्चा का विषय नहीं है, बल्कि ये भारत की जरूरत है। हर कुछ महीने में भारत में कहीं न कहीं बड़े चुनाव हो रहे होते हैं। इससे विकास के कार्यों पर जो प्रभाव पड़ता है, उसे आप सब भली भांति जानते हैं। ऐसे में वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन पर गहन अध्ययन और मंथन आवश्यक है और इसमें पीठासीन अधिकारी काफी मार्गदर्शन कर सकते हैं, गाइड कर सकते हैं, लीड कर सकते हैं। इसके साथ ही लोकसभा हो, विधानसभा हो या पंचायत चुनाव हो, इनके लिए एक ही वोटर लिस्ट काम में आए, इसके लिए हमें सबसे पहले रास्ता बनाना होगा। आज हर एक के लिए अलग अलग वोटर लिस्ट है, हम क्यों खर्चा कर रहे हैं, समय क्यों बर्बाद कर रहे हैं। अब हर एक के लिए 18 साल से ऊपर तय है। पहले तो उम्र में फर्क था, इसलिए थोड़ा वो रहा, अब कोई जरूरत नहीं है।
So on this edition of discussion today, we will analyze the idea of One Nation, One Election with an eminent panel of experts. We are joined by Mr. Sanjay Singh, senior journalist, and Mr. Praful Ketkar, editor, organizer. Welcome, gentlemen, on this edition of discussion today. Mr. Ketkar, if I could begin the program today with you. One Nation, One Election has been a key electoral reform pitched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi since 2014. And once again today, speaking at the Presiding Officers Conference, he advocated the idea, saying it's not just an issue of deliberation now, but something that is a requirement for India. How do you think the idea is feasible for a country like ours, considering that the Lok Sabha and the State Assembly terms are not synchronized?
See, Tina, though Prime Minister is the person who has brought back this debate in the larger political discussion on issues related to One Nation, One Election, the fact is from 1952 to 1967, we had this model of One Nation, One Election. It means the general election, Lok Sabha elections and the assembly elections were going together, hand in hand. Since 1970, when certain assemblies were dissolved prematurely due to some political reasons and use or misuse, whichever way you want to look at it, Article 356, since then this cycle was broken. If you see the, remarks made by, means I'm not going into the debate related to expenditure right now, but the point that I'm trying to make is, in 1983, Election Commission itself has pitched this idea that, we need to look for some way to bring back this model and Election Commission precisely said a stage has come for evolving the system under which elections to the House of People and legislative assemblies are held simultaneously. Similarly, the Law Commission in 1999, headed by Justice Jeevan Reddy, has said that we must go back to the situation where the elections to Lok Sabha and all the legislative assemblies are held at once. It simply means, later we have seen that in Niti Aayog report, Election Commission again going back to, in certain cases to the court. This idea was invoked again and again. Political will was missing. Prime Minister has shown political will to bring back this discussion in the public discourse. And now we are in the situation where we can debate it discuss the hindrances involved in it, benefits involved in it, and then go for the actual action. I think on the Constitution Day, because that is the backdrop on which we are discussing this is the best time to deliberate, because now we are just through with Bihar. We are waiting for Tamil Nadu, Assam, and Bengal. Assemblies will be going for election, then UP will come. And by the time we go by this circle, 2024 general elections will.
Yes.
So we are continuously in election mode. We have to come out of this. That is the main rationale behind this discussion.
Mr. Sanjay Singh, when we talk about benefits and hindrances, of course, it's an idea that has been advocated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and rightly so, because he says elections repeatedly in the country hinder development. But if you look at the other advantages, why do you think he's been pitching for it so strongly ever since 2014? How is it going to benefit the country in the longer run?
See, when Prime Minister Modi propounded this idea when he came to assume post of Prime Minister in 2014, and since then he has been talking about it. Prafulji very beautifully narrated as to how this idea came into force, what was the situation post-independence, and how when Congress imposed president rule, dissolved popularly elected governments, and therefore that cycle was broken. And since then, an era of coalition governments came, governments started falling, Aaya Ram Gaya Ram practice started, and therefore everything went away. The problem with holding multiple elections, at times 2-3 elections in a year cycle, say for instance, this year only, we saw Delhi Assembly elections early in this year, and we just concluded Bihar Assembly elections. Next year, we have 5 Assembly elections, and next year, in fact, those states have gone in election mode. Political parties have gone in election mode for West Bengal, for Assam, for Puducherry, for Tamil Nadu, and for Kerala. Broadly, all these political parties have started positioning themselves for these elections. Come to 2022, in fact, that preparedness and states would go and political parties would go in election mode since, say, around Durga Puja time next year, because those assemblies have to be held in February, March. And therefore, 6 months ahead of that, the nation would go in election mode, because big bang UP election would be coming. And thereafter, towards the end of the year, you have Gujarat Assembly election in 2022. Again, you'll go through the same cycle. On actual level, this involves great deal of preparedness, not just by political parties. What actually happens when an election takes place, you have a whole lot of mobilization of people, of machine, of logistics, and of officials from various, because Election Commission is a body, and when elections happen, they ask for support from various state governments, central services officers, and a whole lot of other things. That expenditure aspect is obviously huge. That runs in some figures suggest around 50 to 60,000 crores would be saved. Also for political parties, also for the candidates. Then you have mobilization of paramilitary forces. Then you also have mobilization of officers. And Mr. Modi had explained earlier as to when election happened in a state, the model code of conduct and the logistics of it not just impede government governance aspect of that particular state, but also of other state, because officers and men are sought from other states also central services officers. And therefore, if you look at the issue of voters ID card or voters list, why should this country have 3 separate voter lists for parliament, for assembly, and for local bodies elections? And that, in fact, that has to go, as the nation has gone in one nation, one tax mode, as now you have mobile numbers where even if you move from one part of the country to another part, you have one number, you have one Aadhaar card, and there are so many changes that had taken place recently. Your PF number remains the same. And there, it's, I think we should begin from there, have that voter list, one uniform voter list for all these elections. It actually, one nation, one poll reform actually curbs You have a whole lot of expenditure that can go in developmental work. The leaders in the government, political leadership, and also civil servants can also concentrate more on governance aspect. And more so, election time brings a degree of animosity between political parties and government of state and the center if they are of two different sides. Therefore, I think this is a very, very good idea which needs to be carried forward.
Okay. So broadly, several advantages pointed out by Mr. Sanjay Singh. It's going to reduce burden on administrative setup, security forces, and also ensure that the administrative machinery is largely engaged in development activities. Fair enough. Praful Ketkar, of course, the idea is good. It's a welcome step, but the challenges are also going to be abound. What are the constitutional and legal hurdles that you see if we want India to have the system of one nation, one election?
Tina, I'll go into it. Before that, I'll just highlight one more point about the advantages. See, from 1977 onwards, we have a spike as far as the expenditure in elections is concerned.
Right.
If you compare from 1971, as far as the general elections was concerned, the expenditure, I'm talking about the expenditure on the machinery. I'm not talking about the expenditure by political parties. It was around 11.5 crore. In 77, it went suddenly up to 23 crore, 54 crore, and by 2004, it went up to 1300 crores. 2014 estimate is up to 4,500 crore. Now add up the assembly expenditure to this. I take Bihar example, the estimated cost is around 300 crore. Now, each election, you are duplicating the process, you are involving the machinery again and again, and you are actually spending taxpayers' money on the activity that was supposed to, as per the original constitutional scheme, that was supposed to held at the 5-year interval. You are continuing in election mode. So code of conduct is in place somewhere or the other. So entire machinery is, developmental activities are stopped. So if we really want to come out of it, there are hindrances because there is a cycle now, as we have, Sanjay ji has already explained. For example, what to do about, if certain assemblies are going for election in 2021 or 22, and they have to wait up to say 24 general elections. So there is a way out that was discussed, even if I'm not wrong, even in the Niti Aayog paper, that we can club 2 sets of assemblies and taking a mean of 6 months, we can club them together. So one set of assembly elections will take somewhere around 2.5, that is a midterm kind of thing. And many bipoles also can club with that. Similarly, remaining states can go with the general elections. So, but political parties are already viewing this, especially from the opposition camp. They are viewing this idea as beneficiary to the ruling party in the center. So there will be a political debate on this. But what I feel is, yes, there should be a debate on this constitutionally, politically, because Sanjay ji has spoken about the animosity between center and state. But there is also social, turmoil when election takes place.
Definitely.
There are issues, that leads to either caste-based or community-based or even state versus state kind of situation. So I think that is not advisable in any democratic system. There has to be a, cycle. And there are examples world over where, there are certain mechanisms that are evolved. In fact, even the weeks or the days are fixed when the election will take place. We have seen the entire, whether, I don't know whether right now this is a right example or not, the American election, but there is a,
there's a fixed date, yes. So taking on from what Mr. Ketkar is saying, Mr. Sanjay Singh, in that regard, if we fix a date, could our parliamentary form of governance be a problem? Could our parliamentary system be a problem area if we are to implement the one nation, one election system?
See, Tina, broadly, you look at it from, say, 1997. Generally, terms have been there for 5 years when Mr. Vajpayee decided to have early elections 6 months before. The problem there was in 90s when we saw too many elections since late 80s and 90s. The country saw too many parliamentary elections because coalition governments came, they were not stable, and there were infights, and therefore those governments dissolved and you had parliamentary elections. In fact, some MPs who were there in parliament for 5 years, and they were 3-term MPs because 3 elections had taken place then. Some unfortunate one lost coming to parliament for 1 year, and thereafter they were practically former MPs. That was not a very happy, healthy situation. Thankfully, now we have stable government, and we have also seen a situation whereby the government at the center, at least for last 6 years, has not dissolved a state government and has gone for fresh elections in a state. So therefore, I don't really see a problem. The problem is we have to amend the law as to whereby even if, say, we are in a democratic setup, so you cannot guarantee that a government which has come to power, more so the governments which are on thin majority, will stay there for 5 years. There are situations, there are dissidents, and there are also pressures, counter pressures, and some issue emerging popular angst going against that particular government. We can have that kind of situation, but if we have a law provided out there through constitutional amendment, the term of the assembly would be fixed, and therefore, even if a government goes, the assembly will elect, the assembly as a whole will elect a government to lead, chief minister, prime minister here to lead for that, and therefore a whole lot of laws have to be changed. That I think is not impossible. That I think is a very probable situation, and in fact, if all political parties and legal experts they sit together, the problem actually arises. What Prafulji was referring is because there is a feeling out there in some opposition parties, also among some social groups, and who are very active politically, and also some thinkers outside of it, that this actually one nation, one poll idea helps Prime Minister Narendra Modi because the kind of reach he has and the kind of appeal he has.
Yes, perhaps that's the kind of perception that's being sold out. Mr. Ketkar, I bring the same question to you because I saw you nodding your head. When we talk about changes in the parliamentary form of government, or perhaps we could say in the difficulties in implementing the one nation, one election system in our country because of the parliamentary system of government, do you agree with the solution provided by Mr. Sanjay Singh that perhaps even if the majority is lost, the House could possibly elect a leader and ensure that the term of the House is completed? So basically, within the existing framework, what are the kind of changes that we should be looking at?
See, there are various models that are, existing world over, and there is no harm in learning from them. For example, 48 countries all over the world, to ensure maximum voting, they have a voting on the same day on Sunday, and some certain days are fixed for it. In country like India, perhaps that is not a feasible option. Because involving election commission itself does not have its own machinery. They are dependent on sort of external support. But we can have certain mechanism. You were actually asking whether parliamentary system can be hurdle. I see parliamentary system actually as a kind of because I don't see this as the norm of a presidential system. I see many places where there is a parliamentary system, there is a provision for shadow government, there is a provision for alternate government, and they ensure that the House is completes its term. Now we have to evolve with certain imagination, ideas, what can be the possible mechanism to have a interim government, what you call as the national government or the state government, and how we can ensure we can in fact find a solution if the term has if the half term is over. We have to ensure that the cycle of 2.5 years maximum that can be maintained, and because it will be very difficult to bring on all the assemblies in one cycle, so there can be two cycles. And if one assembly is dissolved closer to that one cycle, for the remaining 2.5 years, another assembly can be chosen. So we will have to think out of the box.
And of course, there will be opposition as well if reductions and extensions of terms for state assemblies are to be done. Mr. Sanjay Singh, this very issue was brought before the Law Commission, and the recommendations were that perhaps there could be some constitutional amendments that may be required in the People's Representation Act and also in the parliamentary procedures. What are the kind of changes that may be required within the existing framework if we are to implement the one nation, one election system?
See, some constitutional amendments would be required. We have 100 plus constitutional amendments. So why not we can have 2-3 more?
Yes.
And first thing, a fixed term for the assembly. Second thing, we have to ensure as to, I'm not sure whether some people say that anti-defection law will also have to be looked at, because that would provide a greater flexibility in terms of choosing a new government, if at all a new government has to come. Because those situations obviously would arise in a democratic setup, not really at the center, perhaps maybe at the center in some years to come. Nobody actually knows, not in immediate future, that seems, but yes, in a longer term, that possibility is there. Also in some states, that situation also has to arise. And then also you have to put this thing, one nation, one poll, somewhere down, if not in the constitutional amendment, then obviously in somewhere in the procedures that you are going for this. And then you also have to look into the role of each state as to whether you need ratification from those states. I think 2-3 constitutional amendments would actually be required. If there is a willpower, if a broad consensus is there, obviously not everybody is going to come on board. But if there is a broad consensus, and broad consensus, I mean, if BJP and Congress, if Congress is on board, then actually this can be pushed through. What Prime Minister?
Certainly. So there will be opposition, some changes may be required. But as both our panelists have been pointing out, if all stakeholders come together and work towards a workable solution, the one nation, one election system is indeed a welcome and advantage step for India in the longer run. Thank you, Mr. Praful Ketkar and Mr. Sanjay Singh, for joining us on discussion today and sharing your perspective with us on the issue of one nation, one election, or with us and with our viewers as well. A pleasure having you on the program, sir. So with that, I'll have to call it a wrap on this edition of Discussion Today. You can also watch our program on YouTube and send us your feedback and suggestions as well. We'll be back same time tomorrow now with a brand new subject as well. Thank you very much for your time.